This is Grief and Grit, from heartache to high fives with a dash of sass. The podcast that turns the tables on traditional grief talks with a fresh, sassy spin. Listen in for candid conversations about the messy, awkward, and downright hilarious aspects of dealing with loss. Because sometimes the best way to cope is with a little laughter and a lot of grit.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Simonie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah,
What's been happening?
there's been a lot. I got through year 4. May 1st was the 4th anniversary.
Wow.
And I feel like I have been very tired lately and just heavy.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been in good spirits and
Yeah.
more like myself, but it's always like I never know. Is it the grief? Is it depression from the grief? Is it just maybe something hormonal because that happens
No,
at
I
this
think,
age?
I honestly think that grief is exhausting.
Yeah,
And I think that there'll be times where it's not,
right.
but I don't think we ever escape it. You know, it's constant.
It is.
It's not something that you can just break off and say, okay, done with that, moving on. And it creeps up. And of course, and it's also, I feel, a busy time of the year right now.
It is.
And transitioning seasons,
Mhm.
going into summer. And I don't know, there's a lot of change. So I think give yourself some grace. Right?
Thank you. I'm so good at telling other people to do that.
I
But then when
know.
it's myself,
I know. Give yourself some grace. It's all normal.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we also had so Jarrod's sister had a baby. Julian is my new nephew.
Oh,
And thank
congratulations.
you. They took the J from Jarrod and used it for
Oh,
Julian, which is really, really special.
that's very.
And so he was here this past week. I got to meet him and see my other nephew who was born a month before Jarrod died, but Jarrod never got to meet Wilson.
Right.
So it's always really special when they come to town and
Is he just adorable?
yeah, he is. And
Aw.
it's funny because we're starting to look at baby pictures from my sister-in-law and her husband as well as from Jarrod. And there's definitely some resemblance with Jarrod.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of funny.
Wow. Well, I was looking at pictures when you posted
Yeah,
the 4 year. Jack could be Jarrod.
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
Jack, you talk about a mini me. It's
Yeah,
even more than a mini me. I mean, it's like
it is.
just Jarrod condensed into Jack.
Right. He gets really upset when people tell Amelie that how much she looks like her dad. And he's like, no, I do.
Yeah, no.
And I'm
When-
like, you do, but you also have my eyes and my color hair. I'm really sorry, buddy. But like, there is a little bit of your mom, there, too. Not your sister, but like, you do get a little bit of it.
yeah, but
But yeah, so I feel like it could have been just like a really sad time, but we got to be together and celebrate this new baby, and it was just
right.
yeah, so that was nice.
And it's amazing. I mean, you've done 4 years.
4 years. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Crazy, I know.
Like I oftentimes feel like I've lived 2 lives. Like
Yeah.
it's very surreal.
Yeah, you have. And I think I remember for me, the more years that it went on, like my biggest fear was that I would start forgetting Mark and
Right.
but that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think it matters how many years it is. That
Right.
doesn't happen.
I've noticed that too. There was a question that Jack asked recently. I can't remember what it is, but I couldn't remember the answer, but I think it was one of those where I never knew the answer as opposed to not remember. So like after I thought about it some more, I was like, okay, it's okay. I'm gonna cut you some slack. But actually, there is some advice I got immediately after Jared died from another widow was like write everything down. Like keep a note on your phone or something. And as you think of things like favorite food, favorite song, a memory, because she told me as the kids get older,
They will question.
yes, they'll
Yeah.
have lots of questions and you want to be able to answer those. And I just thought that was such a good idea.
That's such a good idea.
So, yeah.
What did you think?
Right. How are you? We've been talking about me.
Good. No, I'm good. So, Hannah returned from her study abroad day, and Ariana came home from college. I cannot believe they're going to be seniors in
That's
college.
so crazy.
It's crazy, but it's so lovely having the house full again.
Yes.
You know, all their friends in and out and dinners and the noise and the mess.
Yeah.
You know, you get used to having a nice, tidy, organized house, but I'll take the chaos over that
It's
any
so
day.
funny. We're in such opposite
Such opposite
situations
worlds.
right now. I'm like, I can't take a mess anymore. God.
I know. So yeah, everything's good.
Good.
Everything is good. So I think being tired and is a good segue into what we're going to be speaking about today.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, and I think for all you listeners, this definitely is something that we've all been through, who's been through any kind of loss, whatever that may be, and however that presents itself, is what not to say to a griever. Oh my goodness. I mean, just this past weekend, I have a very close friend whose husband is unfortunately going through chemotherapy, and she texted me on Sunday night to say, okay, which one of these wins the best award? Like they had some visitors in, and just some of the things that were said to
Oh
them.
God.
You know, one person said, "Well, my life is terrible and all the things, but thankfully I don't have cancer."
Right.
Oh, you're really saying
Wow.
that to someone who's going through chemotherapy?
Oh my God.
So I think
People just don't
people
think.
don't think. And I really believe that no one means ill.
They don't.
They don't mean ill, and they, want to be there and want to comfort you, but
People
wow.
are uncomfortable with the uncomfortable.
Correct.
And oftentimes it's better to just not say anything and sit in silence
Correct.
than to say the wrong thing. And I feel like people are always something that I experienced after we terminated our first pregnancy was there's always that silver lining.
Yes.
And I think people, especially optimists, are always trying to find that silver lining because at the end of the day, yes, it could always be worse.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is our person it died or is potentially dying.
Right.
And that's it. Like that's
Correct.
rock bottom.
Correct.
I mean, there's nothing worse that can happen.
Correct.
And there's nothing that someone can say to make
No.
it better.
No.
Someone once told me, a dear friend of the family, they lost their son and about 10 years ago, which is so crazy. But I remember after Jarrod died, the dad told me, I feel like every time I give someone a hug while they're grieving, or every time someone came and gave me a hug, it takes a little bit of the pain away. Like it's almost like replacing the pain with love. And I thought that was so sweet.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and again,
And
that's like a
need.
right. And like you hug people in silence. You don't have to say anything. Like just hold them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this might be triggering for some of you, but hopefully it'll be validating because again, it is just ridiculous. Some of the things people say.
And also, for those of you who are supporting someone going through grief,
God.
hopefully you'll get some pointers from this as well of, what not to say to a griever. So my best, well, and I think this is a common one where people just do, and it's they're in a better place.
Right.
And when Mark passed away, because he suffered from cancer, I think a lot of people felt that because he was suffering and because he was so ill and because the family was going through all that trauma, he was better off. He was in a better place. Well,
Right.
no. First of all, that's very dismissive.
Right.
And it has no value to it. And no, he's not in a better place. His place is with us. That's where he belongs. So
100%.
yeah, so don't ever say they're in a better place to a griever, because they're not. Their better place is with us.
Right.
Exactly. And on those lines, well, at least they lived a long life. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
Mark was 40.
Right.
In my books, that's not.
Yeah, same. Exactly.
And to someone who's 80,
Right.
someone who's maybe lost a parent at 80, that might not be long enough for them either.
Right.
We wanted to see them I know with my kids and my mom, because she's such an integral part of their lives.
Yeah.
She's 86.
Right.
And my kids want her to know. They don't,
Right.
even 96 would not be long enough for my kids.
Right. The reality is they're no longer here to love and be loved. And that's the painful part. They can live the longest and most beautiful, full, rich life, but once they're not here, they are missed. That is the grief.
Exactly.
Oh my God. So this is like one of mine. Everything happens for a reason. I cannot stand this one. And it comes across as cold and unfeeling. And at the end of the day, there is literally not one good reason
Not one.
why the kids do not have their dad here raising them. Like, not one reason. So, I understand that, there are some people who believe strongly that God has a plan for all of us. And, I think that's beautiful. But everything happening for a reason, I until someone can tell me exactly what the reason is.
Yeah, and I can
Right. Like,
reconcile that.
right. Is Jarrod like trying to solve world peace from heaven right now? Because it's not working. And like, otherwise, there's no good reason. I'm just saying.
There's no good reason. So check that off your list.
Yes.
Not say that to anyone. And then another one,
Yeah.
God needed another angel. So first of all, this could clash with someone's religious beliefs.
Right.
Because some people don't believe in that. Some people don't believe in God.
Right.
Or their religious beliefs are there are no angels.
Exactly.
So that could be triggering for someone as well.
Right. Oh my gosh, I know exactly how you feel. No two grief experiences are the same. Simonie and I are both widows. I don't know how she felt. She lost her husband. They were both 40 when they died. But you know what? Jarrod died suddenly. Like, Mark died from cancer. Like, they're different experiences. Simonie had 4 kids. I have 2 kids. Like, she wasn't in her home country when all of this happened. Like, there's just no way.
There is no. It's like any relationship in life.
Right.
Any relationship.
It's
There are no
unique.
2 relationships that are the same.
Exactly.
No marriages are the same. No dating people are the same.
That's right.
No friendships are the same. It's the same in grief. So just be mindful of that and respectful of that. And, for those of you who are grieving right now, you are on your own grief journey. And no one has a right to say that and especially, I have people who've never been through any kind of loss telling me, I know how you feel. No, you don't know how I feel because you have not experienced this.
Right.
So that's another no-no.
Yeah. Be strong. No, we are sending people our strength. We are not telling them to be strong. Like, And the reality is, they're dealing with the unimaginable, and it's an impossible situation to be strong. They just want history, or they want time to go backwards. There's, when you're in the midst of grief, it is, it's so hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Correct. Correct.
And quite honestly, that takes so much strength.
Correct.
And when people don't understand and realize how difficult literally every single thing is, every moment of every day, this be strong, it's just like, seriously? So what I'm showing you isn't good enough?
Yeah, it's just
Like,
empty words.
right.
And you know what? I feel like strength comes in being vulnerable,
Yes.
being weak.
Right.
It's okay.
100%.
You're going through the worst time of your life, and it's okay not to be strong.
Right.
As they say, it's okay not to be okay.
That's right.
And then at the end of the day, who do we need to be strong for? We need to be strong. It's almost like we need to be strong for the person coming to us,
To make
because
them
they're
feel
so uncomfortable.
exactly.
And to make them feel, okay, she's not so bad. I
100%.
don't need to be, I don't need to feel so bad.
That's
for her.
right. That's right. That is exactly what it's about. Time heals all wounds. Healing doesn't follow a schedule.
No.
Grief doesn't follow a schedule. I mean,
No.
look, I just went through year 4. Was year 4 a little bit easier than 3 and 2? Yes, but that's not because of the time. I think that's because of the work that I've put into my grief journey and choosing to make lemonade out of this
Correct.
situation and finding joy and trying to stick with joy. And at the end of the day, time doesn't make it better. I
No.
mean, I just saw a post from another widow. She lost her husband around the same time I did, and her daughter, her oldest, is graduating high school. That's painful.
Very.
That's a
Yep.
milestone that, her dad is missing.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that does, no matter how much time, it doesn't heal.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. So, no, that's a no-no. Oh, and this one's my favorite. Be grateful for the time you had.
Mhm.
So this is also like, there's nothing else for me really to say. So I'll just be
Right.
dismissive, and I won't take into account what you're feeling.
Right.
No, yes, I am grateful that I had 15 years of marriage with Mark,
Right.
and 6 or 7 years prior to that. But no, I didn't have long enough with him, and I
Exactly.
don't want to be grateful for the short time that I had with him.
Right. And I think especially as a mom, I always say I'm grateful that he was ours. I'm grateful that like we got to have him in our life and that he and I got to build this life together. But my kids are not really going to know their dad.
Correct.
And like no matter how much time I had with him, it will never be enough because the kids
Correct.
never had enough time. Ever.
Exactly. The same
Ever.
with mine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this one I got, and I got, at least you had time to say goodbye. And people, and in a way, I can get that because we had such different situations. You didn't ever think a thought that was going to happen.
You also experienced like watching him in pain and
Yes.
suffering, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, yeah, can we look for these quote unquote silver linings that we tell ourselves make it better? But no two situations are the same, and they both suck.
They both suck.
They
At the end
both
of the
suck.
day,
A
they
sudden
both-
loss
Yeah.
versus the anticipated loss. They are both so hard.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that people saying these frivolous things,
Right.
it's just, something that's on the top of their heads that comes to, and they try That's what I said in the beginning. It's not necessary. People don't mean to be
Right.
like that. It's just that they're not educated on the grief journey.
Exactly. And it's interesting. I remember in one of my pregnancy infant loss groups I was in years ago, one of the leaders reminded us to never compare our losses because there might have been someone who had a stillbirth. There might have been someone who miscarried after 11 weeks. Was one loss worse than the other? No, because we each have our own unique loss. And in those moments, they are the most devastating thing in the entire universe that we're experiencing.
Exactly.
And no matter what that outsider's perspective is, when you personally are going through a loss, there's nothing else that's worse.
Absolutely nothing. And nothing you can say. And in Judaism, just because I know this, and I'm sure it's in other religions as well, you are meant to just go sit with a mourner and not open your mouth. Let that mourner lead. You can ask things like, tell me about
This person,
tell
right?
me about Jarrod, tell me about the person. Allow that person, but don't go with the advice and the saying things like, at least you had time to say goodbye.
Right.
And then this is a great one.
You
You say it because I can't.
You need to let go and move on. For real?
That's not happening.
No. And I think that people misunderstand words have nuances and meaning, and grievers have to find a way to move forward, to again put one foot in front of the other, quite literally.
Right.
And moving on and forgetting about this person will never happen.
Never happen.
And it shouldn't happen.
Exactly.
We need support to get up, get out of bed, maybe get out of the house.
Exactly.
But that's not moving on. And not talking about the person often makes it harder. I know people have asked me recently, have I started dating and things like that? And I don't want anyone to think that I am forgetting Jarrod or that I'm no longer mourning him.
Right.
Because every time I look at those kids, I see Jarrod.
And for me, it's 17 years, and people are, what, you still miss him?
Right?
Yes, I know I will miss him for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
So, yes, I have moved on not moved on from him.
Right.
I've moved on with my life for the sake of my children, for the sake of me.
Exactly.
But I have not moved on from missing Mark, from remembering Mark, from Mark's essence, him being a part of my life.
And not just loving him.
Exactly. So don't be dismissive, people, and say, time to let go. Let go of what?
Right. You'll always remember your mom or your dad that you lost.
You don't want to let go of those people.
Or, a child that you're mourning. You will never let go and forget them. You are holding them in your heart always and forever. And you continue putting one step in front of the other. There is time doesn't stand still.
Correct.
It just doesn't. And I feel like after Jarrod died, in some ways it did stand still. It was a very bizarre feeling, but the world around me was moving so fast. And we don't have a choice. We have to continue moving forward. And it's the support that we get from others and the understanding that grief is loving someone not
Correct.
here.
Yeah.
The love never dies.
Oh, move on from that. As cliche as that may
Right.
be, you know, for all of you grieving out there, you get it. You
Yeah.
understand. And for all of you who are in the lucky position that you have not been through a devastating loss and not
That's right.
been through anything, these are for you as well. Like, what not to say to that person who's
Exactly.
in your life, who's going through, you know, who's going through the loss and going through mourning.
That's right.
So here are some of the things to rather do. And this is for all you supporters out there.
Yes.
So show up and just be present.
That's right.
You know, sit with the griever, hold them if they let you. Just be present. Let them know that you're there.
Yeah.
Do something for them that makes their burden a little easier.
I mean, I remember after Jarrod died, two of my friends just showed up with a carload of paper towels, toilet paper, paper plates. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, how did you know? And I didn't have the brain power to even think of those things. But the reality is like, who doesn't need those things?
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna need it at some point. So like just the most basic things. It was like they just showed up.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
Yeah. And the listen more than you speak. They need to lead the conversation. You know what? It's okay to sit in silence. There's a great children's book called The Rabbit Listened, and it's one of my favorites. And I think I've probably mentioned it before, but just sit there and listen. And it will make it so much better. There may be discomfort for you, but I promise sitting there in silence is what will make your friend, family member, colleague, whomever that griever is in that moment, it will disarm them. It will make them feel safe.
Correct.
And they will eventually really appreciate that space that you gave them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, if they are talking, avoid changing the subject. You know, if they bring up their loved ones and they want to talk about them, don't put your discomfort, don't insert your discomfort.
Right.
Just let them, and you can, you know, gentle prompts for them. You know, instead of changing the subject, you could say, well, what more would you like to tell me about them? Or, you know, do you have a specific memory of a perfect day with them, or whatever it is, but prompt that person, because a griever wants to talk about the person they've lost.
They do.
That's what they want to do. And so it doesn't matter if you've heard the stories, if you are uncomfortable listening to the stories. This is not about you. When you go to comfort a griever, this is about them and their needs.
That's right. And for some, it is really hard for them to talk about their grief or their person. Some of us are much more open than others. And anytime that someone is sharing it, even if you're not sure of what questions to ask, to follow up, to keep the conversation going, a simple thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Or I love that story. That was beautiful. Or again, if you've heard that story 5 times.
Okay. That's one
of my favorites. Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it just, you're handling this person with kid gloves.
Correct.
You're just showing them the love and support that they need in that moment. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then this is a huge one, offer specific help. Don't just say, let me know what you need. First of all, the griever doesn't know at that point what they need. They are just in this fog. They are in a world that has just been turned upside down. So they don't know what they need.
Right.
Tell them specifically, I'm going to the grocery store. What am I picking up for you?
Yep.
If you don't tell me, I'm going to get you X, Y, and Z. So if that's not what you use, you basically tell me what you do.
Right.
What time do your children need to be picked up? I'm coming to pick your kids up on the weekend, and I'm taking them from Friday to Sunday. No one understands what that means when you're a young widow with young children.
That's right.
So in those situations,
Mm-hmm.
do it. Just get the kids. Do what you need to do.
Right. Even I'm dropping off a sandwich so that you can eat lunch.
Correct.
I'm gonna leave it at the front door.
Yes.
Or and you know what? Sometimes they might respond back and say, I'm good, or thank you. Listen to them and follow up and say, what else can I do? I know that you don't want to put the burden on the griever initially. So if they say no to the specific thing, then give them the opportunity to, ask for something else because they clearly trust that you are wanting to follow through with your
Right.
offer.
Yes.
What happens oftentimes is people say, well, what can I do? And we can't think of anything in that moment, but that offer is also gone.
Yes.
And when we need it, we can't think of it.
Yes.
So,
and it makes it difficult to reach out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I think for most grievers don't want to be a burden. And they don't want to feel like people need to be there for them, but so just do it.
Exactly.
Just do it. And also respect their pace.
Yes.
Follow their lead. Follow a griever if it's talking or if it's crying or joking or just sitting in the silence or not responding to you. For me, I became terrible at the telephone.
Yeah.
Answering telephone calls, which I'm still not great today.
Same.
People learned from it. So for me, texting was without doubt the best thing that was ever invented. Because I think I spent so much time during Mark's illness on the phone. But I must say my people all respect that, and they respect it even to this very day.
Yeah.
I'm not great on the telephone. But just follow their lead. Take it from the griever.
Validating how they are feeling is really important. I feel like so often you're like, I'm sorry, I'm so down, or I'm sorry, I've been a bad friend, or, whatever it is. I found myself saying, my friends, even after more than a year, even after 2 years, Greer, like, you have so much on your plate. Like, stop apologizing.
Right.
And so now I really try to remember that and not apologize anymore. And I'm just grateful that they make me feel like what I've experienced is valid and how I'm
Exactly.
feeling is valid.
Exactly.
And they also are showing their support and they don't judge me because 4 years later, I am still scattered.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
forgetting birthdays and things like that.
Exactly. And I think that is so important. Like, I'm 17 years and there are still things, and as I always say, I have never hurt anyone intentionally, but maybe I have.
Right.
But I think, and I always say, well, we do have a certain past. Like, we got that widow's card.
I know.
And sometimes, people just have to forgive us.
Yeah.
There's no intent hurting people. And
Right.
you have, I mean, you have young children.
Right.
You've had to create this whole new life. So yeah,
Right.
so validate people.
Well,
be patient with people.
yes. Oh my God. You have to be patient because at the end of the day, as I've done so much research on grief since being widowed, our brains are rewired. Grief does something neurologically to our brains.
Completely.
Like, there's research, there are books on this, and we're different. It impacts us in a unique way. And a lot of that has to do with those executive functioning skills. And we, again, might seem like we are just totally out of it, or, maybe we do still want to tell those stories and remember our person. And that's okay. I really recommend everybody see the movie Coco. It's a Disney movie. It's beautiful. And it just reminds us that we should be talking about those that we've lost and remembering them.
Exactly. So for all you grievers, you do you.
That's right.
You do what's needed to get you through it and to wake up every morning and get through the day. And for all of you who are lucky enough to be non-grievers but are the support system for the grievers, we hope that some of this sheds some light on what not to say and how to rather be. And I think that the big takeaway for me is just be present. Be present, be patient, be loving, be nurturing. Be there.
Follow their lead.
Follow them.
Yeah, follow the griever's lead.
Yeah. And don't give up on them.
That's right.
Don't give up on them ever. It's a process that can take a lifetime. So be there for them. Don't give up on them and support them.
That's right.
And for all you grieving, just keep going.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you're listening to us today is a step in the right direction.
That's right.
Be kind to yourselves. The same. Be patient with yourselves. Be loving to yourselves. Do you.
We get it.
We get it.
And feel free to share any crazy things that someone has said to you.
Yes.
I'm sure we could do several more episodes on this topic.
Yes.
But just remember they have good intentions, and call someone who gets it to just vent away, because you got to blow off the steam when you hear something like that. It's absurd.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So wishing you all strength.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. As Greer said, let us know what things have happened to you.
That's right.
And we'll be back
soon. That's right. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Substack, and Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And feel free to also leave a rating or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we can't wait to chat with you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. If you love what you heard, please follow Grief and Grit and share our podcast with your friends and family.